All right, good morning, Skooks Arctic. My name is Stetson Mendoza. Today we're going to be planting in the row that we did a few weeks ago, and we're going to be planting asparagus. So we got these asparagus that are 2 years old, and it takes 2 years in order for them to set out their spears for you to harvest. So within that, before that, if they're the first year, they'll just be little tiny ones, and you wouldn't have much. So it takes 2 years to get a nice spear. So today we're gonna be planting in this garden. We're gonna rake it out, and then we'll plant them at least 4 feet apart, because later on the root ball is gonna get bigger and bigger. It's gonna get like 3 feet wide, and you can dig it up later, and you could cut it up into fours or however. As long as it has a spear, you can transplant it to another place. So real quick, I'm just gonna level out this ground again. There's just a little bit. So we're gonna take the rubber band off. There's 1, 2, 3. So we're gonna plant them at least 4 feet apart. We'll see what happens. We'll try to get all these in there. We got 9 of them, so we'll see how it goes. So I want to plant it to the very tip so it has roots. So we'll just go ahead and start planting. And if you have a nice little trowel or shovel, that'll work, but it's already loose in here, so then you want to go 4 feet, which I'm just gonna, maybe that's more like 3 feet, but just dig it in where the tips are barely showing. We'll go down a little bit more. So that's 3. They're about 2.5 feet apart, but it should be all right. So I'm gonna open another bag, and then I'll just put all the soil in there that it came with. And like I said, it takes 2 years for them to have spears. So after that, the spears will just keep getting bigger and bigger. At first, they're just gonna be little spears. So later on, it'll be growing. You can see here, there's a spear coming up already. So, and another thing in the winter time is when their spears are getting ready for picking. And during the summer, if you let them grow, the spears will turn into bushes pretty much. And then the following year you come back, and then you'll trim off all the bushes. So then in the winter time, the spears will come up and they'll have somewhere to grow. So this is a different type, the giant one. And the root structure is going to be the same, but they're only going to be bigger once it starts growing, and it's going to be a big old mat. So you'll have to use like a hacksaw or some kind of saw to cut them apart later on if you wanted to transplant them to other places. Maybe next year we'll have some asparagus, or we will have some asparagus to save. But that's how it is. Cost, like I said, it costs a few dollars for that versus the pack of seeds where you can get maybe 5 times as much as that. So we're gonna continue. I'm gonna plant 3 more, and then you kind of want to mix in the soil a little bit. I know it's rough, but it's good though the way it is. You kind of want it to where the ground has structure versus it just being all fine. So it's better this way for the soil to, the watering system likes it that much better. So it's going to take a few years for them to meet, but later on we will probably have to cut them out and give them to different people who like some asparagus, because there's going to be plenty here. Go ahead and put the stuff that it came with, go ahead and put it around there. So it's good to add that to your soil or your bed. And you will want to make a label after you plant these with everything you plant. You don't have to, but it's just to know what you planted. We planted asparagus here, but there's 2 different types, so we want to be able to say what types they are later on. And we might be forgetful. We planted all kinds of other stuff, so might want to write it down just to keep a note of it. So what he's doing is he's watering them now. He's gonna put a fair amount of water on them, but you could either sprinkle it in like that, or you can just run the hose straight in there and turn on a medium speed and wait for it to fill up. But since it's not fine seed, but with fine seed you would have to barely sprinkle the top, otherwise it will scatter the seed all over if we're putting water on that way. So maybe in 3 days we'll water again, you know, but you just want to kind of soak it up because the ground was a little dry still, so want to have moisture in the ground. So we're just gonna put enough water to ensure that our roots are soaked. And so this one had no water, no moisture, but later on when we water again, it won't take so much water.